What's up guys, how are y'all doing today? Today I want to do a reaction video on this one by Business Insider titled How Volkswagen Plans to Outsell Tesla. So I haven't actually watched the video, so we're gonna go together, see the video, see what happens, because to me personally, I feel like they're gonna BS the shit out of it. To find out if they actually truly BS the shit out of it, we're gonna watch the video, you're gonna have my reaction to it, and we're gonna see how it's gonna go. Just so it doesn't mess up the audio, I'm gonna put on my AirPods Pros here. Yes, this is a big flex, okay? This is one of the biggest flexes in the history of my channel. Now that we got my biggest flex out of the way, transparency mode, ha 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 ha. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get right into it.
Whether you're a fan of the company or not, it's impossible to deny that Tesla is king of the EV market. In 2019, the company sold close to 368,000 vehicles worldwide, in the US accounting for 78% of all electric car sales. But one company still makes a strong case for being a serious challenger to Tesla's crown: Volkswagen. Volkswagen's goal of manufacturing 28 million electric vehicles by 2028 might seem wildly ambitious.
Not only does it seem wildly ambitious, it is wildly ambitious. And to be honest, I don't see Volkswagen going that much into electric vehicles that they're gonna make those many millions of cars in 2028. I don't see that happening. But let's continue.
But the legacy automaker has a plan set in place for taking control of the EV market, and it just might work. Just 5 years ago, Volkswagen found itself paying billions of dollars in fines for programming its diesel engines to cheat emissions tests. But as the dust still settles from its Dieselgate scandal, Volkswagen is now spending money on more than just repairing its reputation. Volkswagen Group is investing almost $37 billion into its electric car program, the most out of any manufacturer.
See, what I have a problem with that is investments don't really mean much. Porsche invested about $9 billion in research and development on their Porsche Taycan. Although it's a really good car, Tesla hasn't even spent close to that amount in R&D. And look at where those vehicles are today. If Porsche truly spent that much amount, by the way, about $2 billion of that probably went to marketing itself. If Porsche actually spent it on proper R&D, they could probably have that same Porsche Taycan do 0 to 60 in whatever 2.5, 2.7 seconds that they want to do. But it would have a range of over 300 miles. Much more than that. Usable range too, in like pretty much all weather conditions. Not just one light snow and that's you could barely go like 150 miles or something like that. That's why I don't like people saying, oh, this company spent this much and whatnot. It's like, that doesn't really matter, does it? Look, it doesn't.
Over $12 billion will be spent specifically at the company's Volkswagen brand. With this investment, Volkswagen's flagship Mach-E has already projected to produce 1 million EVs annually by 2023.
Why do I think this is all BS? Because Volkswagen itself isn't going to produce 1 million BEVs. It's going to be Volkswagen and their sub-brands in combination are going to produce 1 million BEVs. Here's a list of all the companies that Volkswagen owns or has ownership of. You can see that's like a big portion of the car market, and if you're only doing 1 million vehicles among all of those companies, I personally don't think that's really that impressive.
By 2025, they expect a total of 3 million amongst all of Volkswagen Group brands. While this sounds like overpromising from a group that sold only 140,000 plug-in cars last year, Volkswagen already has the tools and manpower at its disposal. The automaker recently converted its Zwickau, Germany plant to solely produce the all-electric Volkswagen ID.3. By 2021...
Where is the ID.3? I haven't seen it on the streets. I haven't even seen any reviews on it. Where is this car? Tell me that.
By 2021, that factory is projected to pump out 330,000 cars a year. EV production is then planned to spread to its Dresden, Germany factory, its Tennessee plant, and 2 of its China factories. By 2022, Volkswagen Group will be producing electric vehicles at 8 different factories on 3 different continents. But as impressive as these numbers are, they are still optimistic estimates based on Volkswagen's size and wallet. In terms of actual sales, Tesla still dominates the EV world. The question is, can they continue?
Of course.
First, let's put aside stocks. Tesla's recent valuation of over $100 billion is definitely jaw-dropping. The company even surpassed Volkswagen for the first time. But Tesla sells a fraction of the cars Volkswagen does, and generated only 10% of Volkswagen's revenue in 2019. In addition to its namesake brand, Volkswagen Group has a dozen profitable product lines,
Exactly.
as opposed to Tesla's one that's yet to record an annual profit. Still, what Tesla has accomplished with its limited resources deserves plenty of praise. Its sales last year were more than its previous 2 years combined. The company now projects to sell 500,000 cars in 2020, a 36% increase over last year. If its sales continue growing at that rate, they could be shipping over 2 million cars a year by 2025.
Okay.
But 2020 might not be so certain for Tesla. First of all, its year-over-year US numbers are already beginning to slow, with annual revenue down 14.9% from 2018. Fortunately, a number of European countries along with China helped pick up the slack. But the US is still the company's biggest market. And as of January 1st this year, that oh-so-attractive $7,500 tax credit that comes with buying an electric car has fully expired for the company.
Let me tell you why that tax credit doesn't even matter much. Tesla is still selling so many different vehicles, so many cars. For all of 2019, they did not have any sort of $7,500 tax credit. It was $3,850 and then it was like $1,875, something like that. If you take that into account, that's not a lot of money. That's not a big incentive compared to $7,500. And considering they actually sold a record-breaking amount of cars in 2019, I don't think the tax credit has to do with it really much at all, actually, especially in the US, because they're a global brand and it matters in the global scale. In the US, obviously, they are the leader in EVs, but still, the tax credit isn't the big reason why people got this car, because these are expensive cars. Even if you didn't get the tax credit, you would still get it because most of the people buying it are generally more wealthier than people who are buying, say, a Camry or an Accord or something like that. I'm talking about Model 3, by the way. And tax credit is just icing on the cake.
In addition, American sales of the Model S and Model X are on a downward trend and being outsold by luxury competitors in Europe. Now the industry is about to see an influx of potential rivals to the Model 3.
What I have to say about that is, where are the rivals? People are saying, oh, they're going to be rivals in 2020, 2021 or something like that, 2019. Honestly, the rivals aren't really that good. Porsche Taycan, really fast charging speed. I love that. Really quick 0 to 60. I love that. But less than 200 miles of range on a really, really expensive car. Pretty much double the price of a Model S. I don't see any of the rivals being any sort of Tesla killer, even a Tesla competitor. To be a Tesla competitor, you at least have to offer the range. And so far, no auto manufacturer has created the range of the 2012 Model S, 265 miles, with the same specs.
The cornerstone to Tesla's success. While Tesla is certainly ramping up its production capacity, it could find itself having to depend on a declining Chinese auto market to continue its growth. Production-wise, Tesla's Fremont factory is capable of pumping out nearly 500,000 cars a year. The now up-and-running Shanghai plant is said to have a capacity of 150,000 Model 3s and will begin Model Y production mid-2020. But the development of its Berlin factory, a major component to its growth in Europe, has already been challenged by local environmentalists.
So I just checked, this video was actually published about 2 weeks ago, but it came out in March, which means that they should have the up-to-date info what happened at the Berlin Gigafactory. And basically, they have got the clearance to build. It's just because of this new pandemic that's happening, they can't. But otherwise, if it didn't happen, of course, they would be building the Gigafactory at this moment. And they are doing stuff at that construction site still.
Meanwhile, where the production of the Roadster, Cybertruck, and Semi will happen remains unknown. Although this level of production is admirable for an independent company, can it keep up with a conglomerate already established on multiple continents?
The thing with this is, most auto manufacturers aren't vertically integrated. Tesla is very vertically integrated, and they kind of have to be because no one really believed in electric cars, so they just had to create everything themselves. With the other manufacturers, they are not vertically integrated, and they're really their big advantage is their engine. That's the thing that they make in-house. Everything else is pretty much outsourced. So to say that, oh my gosh, they have a big lead just because of that, no, because they're ditching what they have a big lead on and going to a new, entirely new technology that they have to prove is actually viable. It's been proven by other manufacturers like Tesla, it is viable. Now they have to put out their own technology to prove that how they're gonna do it. And Volkswagen ID2, ID3, whatever is coming out, specs on paper look amazing, but just like the Porsche, because it's in the same Volkswagen group, right? And the Audi e-tron even. The specs on paper that we saw looked promising, but then the actual specs aren't really there. It's supposed to be a Tesla killer. Porsche Taycan was supposed to be much faster than a Model S Ludicrous. Model S Ludicrous can still take it. Now, yes, maybe the Porsche can do it like so many times, whatever. Don't give me that crap, okay?
So we've heard the numbers, but what exactly can we expect to see on Volkswagen's showroom floors? Well, in addition to the luxury models already released through its Audi and Porsche lines, for mainstream buyers, its Volkswagen brand has multiple options planned for the next few years. This includes the ID.3 hatchback, exclusively available in Europe, and sold for around $30,000, and the ID Cross, planned for the US in late 2020 and priced at around $40,000 before the $7,500 tax credit still available to Volkswagen EVs. The years to follow will include the ID Rooms SUV, the ID Buzz based on its iconic microbus, and more. But Tesla has plans of its own to expand its limited lineup. Deliveries for its Model Y SUV began as soon as this March. However, some analysts worry it could cannibalize sales of the already successful Model 3.
For that, I have to say that when the Model X came out, it didn't actually cannibalize the sales of the Model S like everyone predicted. The sales of the Model S actually increased, so we can probably expect the same thing. Now, obviously, some of the sales will be cannibalized, but I think more people will actually start to get to know Tesla, and they'll be like, okay, do I want this SUV or do I want this? I don't think it's going to make as big of an impact on cannibalizing the sales of a Model 3 as most people actually think. That's just my opinion.
Model 3, which they believe is responsible for the drop in sales of the luxury end Model S and Model X. The Model 3 and Model Y are similarly priced, very similar looking, and it will eventually sell for over half the price of Tesla's only other SUV, the Model X. Tesla's upcoming Roadster supercar and Cybertruck pickup certainly have impressive potential, but the company may need a lower-priced entry-level car to keep up with someone like Volkswagen, who has the pockets to produce cheaper vehicles.
I'm fine with having the pockets to produce cheaper vehicles. The problem is you also have to make a profit on each car, and Volkswagen buys their batteries from LG. That's not really that much profit because when you're vertically integrated, the thing that you can take big advantage of is everything happening in-house, happening really quickly, and you don't have to pay the other businesses and pay for their profits. Like Volkswagen, if they're buying their batteries from LG Chem, batteries are the most expensive thing on a BEV, a battery electric vehicle. What that means is, say LG just had a profit margin of say 5 to 10% on battery. So a $10,000 battery would cost about $11,000 if it's 10%. What that means is for every car sold, you have to pay that extra $1,000 for every car just for the profit for LG. Nothing related to the car itself. Whereas if you have that vertical integration, A, you don't have to actually pay that extra $1,000 per vehicle, and B, if you do manufacture a cell that is much more better and energy dense like Tesla have done, you don't have to pay the other company any profit and you can implement it right away and it'll be cheaper.
Volkswagen's biggest challenge may be marketing. Tesla famously claims not to spend a dime on advertising, but has come to dominate the electric car market through YouTube, social media, and its unmistakable cool factor. But Volkswagen knows it will have to reach its potential buyers somehow. The automaker is already putting the majority of its marketing efforts into the EV sector. This includes a $2 billion ad campaign promoting zero-emissions vehicles. Even on a local level, the most difficult area to reach, Volkswagen will match funds for its dealership's commercials and ad campaigns, supplying up to even 75% of the resources. But as the company's 2015 scandal remains fresh in the heads of many environmentalist car buyers, we'll have to see if America and the rest of the world is buying Volkswagen's reformed attitude toward greener cars. While it's fun to marvel at rivalries about to take place between brands like Volkswagen and Tesla, the status of the EV market is less exciting. Electric vehicles accounted for only 2.5% of all global car sales in 2019. These next few years will feature a huge increase in the number of EV models available to buyers, but we could just as easily see a scenario with automakers building a huge surplus of cars with no one to buy them. However, Tesla has already paved the way for automakers like Volkswagen and shown what can truly be accomplished in a market that is still anyone's game.
Okay, so overall the video hit on some great points. Do I believe Volkswagen would outsell Tesla? Not in the near future, probably in the late 20s, maybe early 30s or something like that, but not anytime soon. Sure, Volkswagen has the advantage of actually having manufacturing, but look again, I've actually talked about this before in my previous videos, that even the Audi e-tron is having production issues because of battery production. They cannot get a hold of enough cells to make their packs to actually implement in their cars. That's the same problem that Volkswagen will have, and they will have to solve that somehow. Tesla's solution is putting a gigafactory, and obviously Volkswagen has to do something similar to actually prevent that from actually happening to their cars, especially if they want to manufacture them in the numbers that they're telling. But have we seen anything happen? Not really. Talks of the gigafactory have been there since 2015, more like 2016 was when it was actually finalized. And we actually knew that, okay, Tesla's actually doing something. And their plan was not to create a Model 3 for another 2 to 3 years, but they knew they needed a gigafactory to create their Model 3 because they needed a place where they can create their cells and make that into a pack and create a drivetrain. That is what they did. They got their Model 3 out. It's pretty cheap to buy, and it's one of the best electric vehicles you can buy. Personally, Model Y is better, but that's a whole different story. Video right up here if you want to watch it, but yeah. Also, one thing that they missed talking about was the supercharger network. So they did show some clips of like Ionity or whatnot, but those really weren't actually explaining how they're going to implement fast chargers around the country or the globe even, because Tesla's biggest advantage is the supercharger network. You really wouldn't buy an EV if you knew you couldn't really charge if you're going on a long road trip, whether it had a 300-mile range or not, doesn't matter. But because you know you can actually charge every like 100 miles or something when you're on a road trip, you know with those 300-mile range cars with the Tesla, you're totally fine. And it's not like they charge slow at 50 kilowatts. They charge really fast at 100, 150. Even with the V3 charger, 250 kilowatts. I would just want to see Volkswagen doing that, and frankly, Electrify America and even Ionity, they're sort of good, except that they're way too expensive. Like, come on, why are they so expensive? I don't see Volkswagen becoming a big auto manufacturer, but I like where they're going. I know Herbert Diess is doing some great job, and he understands the market and where it's headed, understands the threat Tesla is putting on these auto manufacturers, and they know if they don't move quick enough, they will be out of business very quick, basically with a blink of an eye. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Now tell me what you think down in the comments below. Do you think Volkswagen can actually get there? And maybe even put some links down below if maybe I missed something that I probably didn't know of. I don't know. That happens all the time, by the way. Just put it down below. I'll check it out and I'll probably even reply. And yeah, so I'll see you later. Talk to you tomorrow. Hope probably not. So yeah, see you later. Bye. Peace.